I know I've touched on this topic many times before, either in passing or I've made an entire video ranting about this, but I just have a bias against drugs and people who take drugs in general. And I know I can't really talk about this topic because I'm a healthcare worker and I myself am on drugs. My choice of drugs, well, it's not really my choice. Yes and no, it is my choice. But let's just say that it's the kind of drugs I end up taking. They are the kinds that are prescribed, and I take them under the guidance of a professional. Let's put it that way. We all take drugs, let's be honest. Who doesn't take drugs? But I mean, I just have this bias against drugs in general. And the people that take drugs. And I know I shouldn't judge people, and I'm trying not to judge people here. I'm just stating my point of view, how I view drugs. Nothing good comes to my mind when I think of drugs. When I think of drugs, I think of junkies, people who are addicted to a substance, people who are lazy. I'm just going to speak my mind here. I think of people who are lazy, people who want an escape from their reality, people who don't want to fix a problem that they have in life or they can't, so they just give up. I think of people who want to cheat as well, like anabolic steroids. Those are drugs as well. People who are not honest. I mean, for some reason, I cannot think of a good reason or a positive thing to say about drugs. Yes, we use medicines to treat diseases, but if you can do without it, then I don't know. That's just how I think of drugs. Maybe I was brought up a certain way, but yeah, that's how I think of it. Yes, I know we do need drugs. We are dependent on drugs. But for some modern day diseases, like obesity, diabetes, and stuff like that, if we could have just prevented the disease from happening, then we wouldn't have to rely on drugs. You know what I'm saying? But I realized that this negative attitude towards drugs was what made me so resentful and so jealous of this one person whom I met in uni when I was a student. Now, I'll be honest here, there's nothing to write home about this guy. He's your typical immigrant uni student. He's one of us, really. But when I look at him and I look at the people around him, man, this guy knows how to make friends. For some reason, he just seems to have a lot of friends. He's not exactly good looking. He's not exactly eloquent or funny or articulate in any way. He's just, he's just normal. But somehow people seem to really like him. They really like his company, and women especially. You know how nursing schools are. It's female dominated. But for some reason, he's the man. I'm telling you, he's the man. He gets all the chicks. So I had the pleasure of meeting this man that one night on New Year's Eve. I had just broken up, or rather I was dumped by my ex-girlfriend, and I met him through a friend of mine. He just introduced this guy to me. And at first look, I look at him and I don't really think much about it. But then as the night progressed, I get introduced to all of his friends, and man, he got so many friends. And I was wondering, how is this guy so likable? Why do people like him so much? And then he started offering me a joint. We ended up having a really good time that night. I don't remember much of it, but from the stories that I heard from my other friend, I got blackout drunk and I said a lot of silly things. I was completely not myself at all. I think in that moment when I first met him, I thought, maybe he's onto something. Maybe it's the joint that he's smoking. Maybe it's the drugs he's taking. That makes him loosen up. That makes him easier to talk to. Maybe that's why people like him. So that's why I was very relaxed that night. And plus, I also just got broken up with. So yeah, I was down for a good time to forget all of these memories about her. So I ended up drinking way too much and also smoking way too much. So those are not good combinations, by the way. It did make everything seem very funny. And I remember having such a sore stomach because I was so hungry. That's the side effect of weed as well. But yeah, I had a really good night. But in that moment, before I took the drugs, I thought maybe I need to stop being myself, stop being so serious. Maybe it's the drugs. I need to take some drugs, loosen up, talk to some people, get some bitches, get on the dance floor. I did get on the dance floor. I didn't think much about the dude until very much later on when we ran into each other again at work during this orientation day thing. And there was this one girl who couldn't find a seat, so she ended up sitting at our table. And this guy just randomly asked her, out of the blue, out in the open, do you smoke weed? And I was very surprised. She actually said yes. And so they ended up talking. And he ended up telling her that he's going to hook her up with something. And they exchanged Snapchats. By the way, if you're still using Snapchats, I have no comments other than that. It's an app designed to be used by people who are shady, people who want to send a message and then they want that message to be deleted so that others cannot see it. Although you can take screenshots, but you know the sort of people who use Snapchats and similar platforms to communicate. But yeah, they ended up exchanging Snapchats, and I thought, man, bro, how easy was that interaction? How easy was it to get in touch with a person, to keep in touch with a person? If you just say that you know or you have the goods, and I get it now. I get it why he's so likable. I get it probably why people want to be around him. They depend on that stuff. They need that stuff. And I want to cut him some slack here. Maybe he was a good businessman. Maybe he knows people. He has good connections and he's able to maintain good relationships with all of the shareholders, with his business partners, with his clients. I don't know. I really don't know. I don't really want to get into this stuff. I don't want to get into the nitty-gritty, and I don't want to snitch on him or anything like that. Perhaps he has those qualities as well. But you gotta be honest, people do like this stuff. The drugs, I mean. People need it. And as a dealer, you have so much power. You have the power to control the price. You have the power to decide when and where to meet. You know? If you want this stuff, meet me right here at this time. Yeah. You have a lot of power as a dealer. Not so much as a consumer, because you are hooked in. You are dependent on this stuff. Talking to my housemate who was a chronic marijuana user, yeah, it really does take control of your life. Sometimes when you go for days or weeks without it, and you've been smoking for a long time, you just don't feel right. You feel depressed. You feel like you're missing something. So I get the appeal of becoming a drug dealer. I get now why people might want to hang out with him. People might like him. Why he has such high status. And maybe he's able to make good money out of this stuff. He probably has women offering their bodies to get some of this stuff. I don't know. And I don't want to speculate. But I'm beginning to think why when you are a drug dealer, you have so much power and status. That's why you see rap music glorifying all these pimps and drug dealers, because they are high status. They make money, they get women, and people just want to be associated with them because they deliver the good. They are Dr. Feel Good. They bring feelings of happiness to people. That's why people like them. So I myself, I do want to be a dealer of some sort. Now, I'm only joking. I will never become a drug dealer because I can never think of a positive thing to say about drugs. Seeing how so many lives were destroyed because of addiction and substance abuse, if you see the sort of stuff I see, you would think twice about taking drugs. I mean, seriously. But also, I cannot deny the fact that these drug dealers hold immense power over their clients. You know, people get hooked to this stuff. You see women losing their dignity, throwing their bodies at these drug dealers in order to get a hit, in order to get that same high again. They would do anything. They would lose their children in order to get high again. And it's a heartbreaking thing. It's a heartbreaking thing. Now, no job is glamorous, and I can sort of understand the appeal of why someone want to become a drug dealer, you know? You're this nobody, and then suddenly when you have the goods, people want to be associated with you. People want to be friends with you. People want to hang out with you. People want to hit you up because you're the man. You have women throwing themselves at you because you have the good stuff. That's why people want to be around you. But don't let that get into your head. Do these people really want to be with you, or do they want to be with you because of the drugs? And also, is it worth it? Just living life on the edge all the time, you know, running away from the law, making sure nobody breaks in your house or they're going to steal your stuff, or having the police lurking and watching. And, you know, is it really worth losing your peace of mind over this? Sure, it's a very lucrative business if you know the right people, if you have the connections, if you have a good client base, whatever that might be. But is it worth it? No job is as glamorous as you think it is. There are ups and downs to everything. And this one in particular, I see all downs. I see all downs. That's it for today, guys. Hope you guys are doing well. Stay strong. God bless. Don't take drugs. But who am I to stop you from doing that? Yeah. But just think about these things.